All empires repeat the same cycle. That's what 20th century historian Sir John Glubb observed. After studying 3,000 years of human history, he concluded that every great civilization follows the exact same 6 stages before its inevitable decline. Who was Glubb? He was a British soldier, author, and former commanding general of Transjordan's Arab Legion. In his later years, he turned to geopolitics and world history, culminating in his 1978 essay, The Fate of Empires and the Search for Survival. In it, he lays out a startling pattern, one that holds true across cultures, regardless of technology, geography, or era. First, Glubb notes that empires rarely last longer than 250 years, roughly 10 human generations. The Assyrians marched on foot with spears. The British ruled with artillery, railways, and ironclad ships. Yet both rose and fell within the same time frame. What are those 6 stages? Subtle shift, slightly more rhythmic. Stage 1, the Age of Pioneers. Glubb calls it the outburst. A small, seemingly insignificant nation steps onto the world stage, driven by energy, courage, and raw creativity. These early conquerors are usually poor, hardy, and fiercely aggressive. Unbound by tradition, they improvise. If one approach fails, they try another. Take Macedon in the 4th century BC. Once a minor northern Greek state, it transformed into a vast empire stretching from the Danube to India in just 36 years. Stage 2, the Age of Conquests. Now, the rising power adopts the sophistication of older civilizations. Expansion becomes organized, disciplined, and professional. This is when a culture truly becomes an empire. Confidence and optimism run high. There's often a quiet contempt for the decadent societies they've conquered. Crucially, because they lack rigid traditions, their leaders enjoy the freedom to innovate. As Glubb wrote, they aren't bound by textbooks on politics or tactics. They rely on instinct and improvisation. Stage 3, the Age of Commerce. With vast territories secured, trade becomes safe and widespread. Resources, people, and ideas flow across continents. This stage often overlaps with conquest, but society's values begin to shift. Military honor still commands respect, and the frontiers remain guarded. But gradually, the pursuit of wealth overtakes the pursuit of glory. An honor-based culture slowly transforms into a mercantile one. Stage 4, the Age of Affluence. Wealth becomes the ultimate goal. Glubb puts it bluntly. The age of affluence silences the voice of duty. The young and ambitious no longer chase fame, honor, or service. They chase cash. The empire's fighting spirit fades. Instead of confronting threats with force, leaders buy them off with subsidies and diplomacy. Military aggression is labeled primitive. Civilized societies grow too proud to fight. Stage 5, the Age of Intellect. Scholarly activity peaks, often coinciding with the beginning of decline. Where merchants once funded the arts, universities now receive massive endowments. Glubb observed this in his own time. At the height of British and American power, a handful of elite institutions met society's needs. Now, nearly every city has one. The ambition of youth shifts once again from adventure to wealth to academic accolades. Lowers becomes more reflective. Stage 6, the Age of Decadence. This is the final phase, characterized by internal division, mass immigration, materialism, frivolity, expanded welfare systems, declining religious faith, and a defensive, inward-looking mindset. Glubb warned that endless debate replaces decisive action. Amid a babble of talk, the ship drifts onto the rocks. Cleverness, he argued, cannot solve crises that demand self-sacrifice. Sometimes, the unsophisticated dedication of a hero is far more valuable than the sarcasm of the intellectual. Internal strife becomes a hallmark. Glubb points to the Byzantine Empire, consumed by civil wars while the Ottomans gathered at its gates. Strikes, protests, and boycotts multiply. Instead of uniting against external threats, society fractures from within. Then comes the demographic shift. Homogeneous cultures foster solidarity. But large-scale immigration, Glubb argued, disrupts that cohesion, not out of malice, but because differing customs, lower willingness to sacrifice during hard times, and the formation of separate communities make a unified national identity harder to maintain. He observed this in London, where dozens of nationalities shared the streets, making it difficult to find any British. Frivolity takes root. A let us eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die mentality spreads. Decadence, Glubb concludes, is ultimately a spiritual sickness. Born from prolonged wealth and power, it breeds cynicism, pessimism, and a loss of faith. When citizens no longer believe anything is worth saving, no effort is made to save it. Glubb didn't see this cycle as inevitable doom, but as a warning. He believed history should be taught not as isolated national stories, but as the shared experience of humanity. If we study 4,000 years of civilizational rise and fall calmly and impartially, he asked, wouldn't we finally find solutions to our modern crises? Swells gently, then begins to fade. So, what do you think? Do empires truly follow the same cycle? Are we repeating the patterns of those who came before us? And if Glubb's model holds true, which stage are we in right now? Fades out completely. Thanks for watching. If you'd like more deep dives into history and ideas, please like, comment, and subscribe.